World Breastfeeding Week is commemorated every year from the 1st to 7th of August with a major aim of increasing and creating awareness on breastfeeding culture. This year's major theme is Protect Breastfeeding as a Shared Responsibility. Today's program, we are honored to have a guest who is a medic, Phoebe Ongadi, a nutritionist and a public health expert from Tumaini la Maisha Health Services. Why the World Breastfeeding Week?
Thank you very much, Mercy. As you have rightfully put it, our World Breastfeeding Week is commemorated every year from 1st to 7th August to draw attention and to remind governments, communities, societies to support, to protect, and encourage breastfeeding. Now, this year's theme, as you have said, it is about breastfeeding as a shared responsibility. We know that breastfeeding usually it's a personal affair. It's about an individual's affair in the family. But we are saying, and the research is showing that breastfeeding is now a public health concern, and people who are encouraged to breastfeed well, nations that breastfeed well, stay healthier for longer. So the main theme for World Breastfeeding Week is just to draw attention and to create awareness around breastfeeding.
So guys, breastfeeding as a shared responsibility. Maybe there are situations where the mother will refuse to breastfeed the child and the child may also refuse to suck milk. What happens?
Thank you very much, Mercy. It is recommended that when a mother gives birth, the baby should be introduced to breastfeeding at least in the first hour of after delivery. It's very important because colostrum, which is the very first milk that is very nutritious, is produced in the first 2 days. So again, it is also recommended that a mother breastfeeds exclusively for 6 months without adding any solids, without adding any liquids or anything. And finally, after 6 months, it is encouraged that we introduce other foods in conjunction to breastfeeding. So back to your question, the reason why many mothers complain about lack of the baby getting enough milk, we have something that is called positioning and attachment. We look at the anatomy of the breast. Basically, the breast has very many, 3 distinct sections: the nipple, the areola, and where we have the milk ducts that cannot be seen with the physical eye. So basically, we say that for a child to breastfeed well, the baby should attach themselves to the breast appropriately. What is attachment? It means the baby should not only latch on the nipple. What happens when the baby latch on the nipple only? It will be painful, and when it's painful, now the mother will start complaining of not enough milk, and the process of breastfeeding will be uncomfortable. And then if the baby only latches on the nipple, they're not able to stimulate the milk ducts that are the hormonal processes that improve the letdown of milk. So we say that a well latched baby, the mouth should be wide open, and the mouth should cover the areola, especially the below areola, and a bit of the upper areola. And then the baby should also look full. The mouth should be round, not sunken, to show that they are sucking well. And the baby should take most of the breast, not most of the breast. So most of the breast should be in the mouth of the baby. That is attachment. So the baby's mouth should be wide open, the lip out should be curled, and the baby's chin should touch this part of the breast. When the baby is not positioned well to the breast, most of the times the milk will not come out well and the baby will be uncomfortable. So it's number 1, the baby should face the mother. The first rule, the baby should face the mother and the face should face the breast. We say that the chin, the nose should face the nipple, because you see the nipple should be above the nose so that the baby opens the mouth. When we are saying the attachment, the mouth should be wide open to take in most of the breast. And then the tummy or the baby's body should be close to the mother's body. And as we are going to look ahead, baby, we say breastfeeding is a bonding process that helps with emotional development for the baby and the mother. And the body should be, the baby should be supported well from the head to the rest of the body in a straight line. And the mother finally should be very comfortable. If it's a new mother, the baby is usually very small. So we put a pillow below or a pillow to support the back of the mother.
Okay, Dr. Phoebe, since last year, we've had the outbreak of COVID-19. So in a situation where a mother has tested positive for COVID-19, how do you manage that?
So right now, World Health Organization recommends that the process of breastfeeding outweighs the benefits of breastfeeding outweighs every harm. So we look at a mother in 3 prongs. For example, if it's a mother who is infected with COVID-19 and has mild symptoms or is asymptomatic, we encourage this mother to continue breastfeeding and to room in with the baby. Rooming in means the mother and the baby stay in one room. That one helps the mother also to gauge when to breastfeed. Breastfeeding is encouraged that we breastfeed on demand. So if the mother is with the baby in the same room, then she'll be able to do that. If the mother is very ill, maybe not able to breastfeed well, then we encourage what we call expressing breast milk and giving the baby later. And all this, when we are doing that, we still consider and we look at the infection prevention measures. Like, for example, the mother should put on a mask anytime they're breastfeeding. And remember, Mercy, breastfeeding is an interactive process. So we still encourage them. You can still smile even in the mask. Your face will light up a bit, and the baby will be able to detect that. And also hand hygiene, washing the hands before and after handling the baby, or sanitizing before and after handling the baby, and keeping the surfaces clean, especially the surfaces that the mother is in that room. And remember, babies really they are good. The research is showing that they really, very few babies get affected or infected by COVID-19 because most of them present asymptomatic symptoms. But all in all, it is important that COVID-19 or no COVID-19, this mother should be supported to breastfeed at any stage that she's affected or infected by COVID-19.
Earlier on, you said that your organization, Tumaini la Maisha Health Services,
Yes.
is mainly concerned with cancer awareness.
Yes.
In a situation whereby a mother has been diagnosed with cancer, especially breast cancer in this case, how do you handle that?
Thank you very much. As we go there, we have to remember the benefits, first of all, the benefits of breastfeeding to the mother. Breastfeeding is a very important process for the mother. It improves emotional development and the process of bonding helps mothers even to overcome postpartum depression. Breastfeeding also, women are very conscious about their weight. It helps with what we call the contraction of the uterus after giving birth, and that helps the woman to go back to their pre-pregnancy weight. And Mercy, there are also some cancers that have been shown to be prevented by the process of breastfeeding. As we know, in Kenya, breast cancer is one of the leading cancers and the leading causes of death, and also cervical cancer, especially if they are discovered late. But now studies are showing us that women who breastfeed for a year and more have a reduction in getting breast cancer. The levels have fewer chances of getting breast cancer and also cervical cancer. And now what happens to this mother who is already diagnosed with cancer? They are breastfeeding and they are supposed to start treatment. Remember, in cancer is one of the very few instances where now breastfeeding is given a second priority, because we know with cancer, the earlier the diagnosis, the better the prognosis. So when this mother is diagnosed with cancer, you want to put them on treatment immediately. And some of the treatment that we have, the main ones is chemotherapy, radiology, and also surgery. And in chemotherapy, the drugs that are used there, they are shown to appear in very high levels in breast milk that will be harmful to the baby. The same as surgery, the process of getting someone to surgery, the anesthesia process, for example, also has shown some of them can get into breast milk. Okay, and also the radiology is okay, especially if there are some forms of radiotherapy that are safe for the mother and for the baby. But again, this is usually a discussion between the oncologist and the baby. So the oncologist and the mother. So this mother can be supported to breastfeed. If it's a treatment option, for example, if it's a mother going for surgery, the oncology can advise maybe you express enough breast milk and just store for your baby, and during that period of surgery, so that the baby is also able to get enough breast milk even when accessing treatment for cancer.
Okay. You said earlier that mothers should breastfeed their children for almost 6 months, but of course some of us were breastfed up to nursery school, class 1. Problem is in Kenya, we mothers are only given leave for almost 3 months. So how can we
sustain breastfeeding? Thank you so much, Mercy. And the benefits of exclusive breastfeeding, as we said earlier, are enormous. Breastfeeding is one of the cornerstones for child and infant survival in the country and in the world over. So mothers are encouraged to breastfeed exclusively. We know that this milk that the child is getting, especially for the first few days and for the first few months, it is total nutrition. So the child will not have to, we will not add anything. It is everything that this child needs during that season. And then also with the infectious diseases that are currently all over the world, the process of breastfeeding also helps to build immunity for the baby. And also some antibodies are also passed from the mother to the baby to help the baby better or fight infections later in life. Now, when we say exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months, the government of Kenya has really tried. We know there is the Health Act of 2017 that encouraged employers all over the country to come up with policies to support breastfeeding mothers. Mercy, did you know that breast milk can stay in room temperature for 8 hours without going bad? So even if you go back to work, if your workplace has a good place, or even if it doesn't, you can improvise a room or a corner where there is privacy to express the breast milk to continue breastfeeding. And also breast milk, the same breast milk can stay in the refrigerator. At the back of it, we encourage you, arrange the bottles towards the back for 24 hours, and in the freezer for almost 6 to 8 months, depending on the temperatures, between -4 degrees to -20. Those are the common temperatures for our freezers. So we are saying that even as a mother, the moment you have your baby, you can start expressing breast milk and storing, expressing and storing, and of course labeling well. When you go back to work, you still continue with the breastfeeding by expressing and storing. When you reach home, you keep it. So that process, you are able to go back to work, and the baby is able to get the good nutrition, the baby is able to keep immunity, you're able to be relaxed emotionally to continue with your work. Other benefits of cancer prevention also to your benefit when you continue breastfeeding for longer.
Women also find it difficult breastfeeding in public because maybe people will look at them. What would you advise them?
Thank you, Marcin. That's why we have World Breastfeeding Week. We just want everybody to be aware that this woman, because when a well breastfed child leads to a well and healthy family, leads to a well and healthy society, and leads to a well and healthy world. So breastfeeding should be supported by all means, from the communities to the workplaces in fact, when you see such a mother, go there and pat them on the back and tell them you're doing well, encourage them, find out if they have the support that they need to breastfeed. So mothers should not have any issue breastfeeding in public, and it is the public who now should support these mothers to ensure that the process of breastfeeding, because of the benefits that are enormous. Even with the current economy, breastfeeding is very cheap. You will not need to buy milk, you will not need to warm anything, it is readily available. So the stress on finances and the stress on purchasing is highly reduced. So breastfeeding should be supported anywhere, and that's why we have a whole 7 days to remind ourselves that let us support women, let us support mothers wherever they are to breastfeed as long as they want and wherever they do it.
So this August, please come one and come also that we can embrace the World Breastfeeding Week. Maybe we cannot talk about breastfeeding without forgetting nutrition, because it plays a major role in our bodies. And we women, we are normally conscious about our body weight and what we eat. What would you recommend for the diet of a lactating mother?
Thank you very much. And even as we talk about the lactating mother, we usually say nutrition is throughout the life cycle. So even before you get pregnant, there are nutrition that you should consider, especially very important nutrients that you have to ensure that you're getting. As you conceive the baby, also there are nutrition that you have to ensure that you're getting, and also during breastfeeding. So if I start from pregnancy, when you're pregnant, remember you're feeding yourself and you're also feeding another baby. And the stress of that even goes higher when you're breastfeeding. The needs go even higher. So usually in nutrition, we talk about food groups, and each and every food group, it's important for the mother who is breastfeeding to ensure that at least they eat locally available and diversified food. Because if you just eat one food every day, for example, you eat omena every day or meat every day, you will not get the benefit that is in beans or the benefit that is in dengu. So we say eat a variety of locally available foods. And the first group that we have is called the grain and the grain products. The grain and the grain products, this is where we have the maize, the starches, the grain products, and the starchy foods. Now, this group of foods, they are energy-giving foods. Now, this mother, especially who is breastfeeding, the energy requirements are very high. And remember, the body gives priority to the baby. So if the mother does not eat well, it is the mother who will be at a disadvantage. The body will give priority to nutrients, first of all, to the baby before the mother. So it's important that the mother ensures that in her diet, she has these energy-giving foods. And we encourage that when there are energy-giving foods, we go for the whole grains. The whole grains, the whole meals. We have the wimbi, we have millet for making porridge and even for making ugali. So why we go for the whole grains is because they are nutritious, and then they are very rich in fiber, which helps with the bowel movements. We also say that the high fiber foods have more nutrients, more compared to the highly refined foods.
Okay.
Now, these carbohydrates, what we are saying is that they are the energy-giving foods. A mother who is breastfeeding expends more energy than a normal mother who is not breastfeeding, even more than a breastfeeding mother, a pregnant mother. The process of breastfeeding spend. That's why when you're breastfeeding, even there is weight loss that happens. It is positive for the mother because it's a process of energy consuming. We also have what we call proteins. Now, proteins, we have what we call legumes. We have the eggs group. We also have the nuts and seeds, very healthy, Mercy, in omega-3, omega-6 fatty acids. And then we have the meats. So these ones are the proteins giving foods, what we also call the bodybuilding. So especially this group of proteins or the bodybuilding foods, which we call the milk and milk products, are very important in breastfeeding, also pregnant women, because they provide calcium and phosphorus that are needed for the skeletal development of the baby and also to keep the mother from getting osteoporosis later in life. That is the same as the eggs, which are very nutritious. The meat family have iron, folic acid, very important for growth and development, and also ensuring that the baby has good immunity. Same to the beans family. So we are saying that at least in a day, a mother should choose one out of these protein giving foods and we say and stress that let it be locally available and diversified, easily available in a diversified manner. A very, very important group also, Mercy, that has vitamins and minerals is what we call the fruits and vegetables. And in fruits and vegetables, we know they have vitamins, they have minerals, they have fiber, they have vitamin C, vitamin K. All these vitamins help to build immunity of the baby and to help the baby, the mother to sustain breastfeeding and to pass those nutrients in the breast milk to the baby. So the yellow colored fruits and vegetables is one of them. These are the carrots, the pumpkins, the sweet potatoes, very nutritious in vitamin A that helps with the eye health and also for epithelial health. And also we have the other fruits which are also very nutritious in fiber and the other fruits that we need. And the mother can decide to eat it in any way. They can eat it fresh like this. They can even blend it and just drink like that. It's still allowed. And the group of vegetables, that is the green leafy. I know we like sukuma wiki every day or cabbage every day, but remember there's terere, there is managu, there is saga, all those other types. So we say out of all these foods, let the mother ensure that they consume at least 5 groups of them, or what we used to call the balanced diet. And finally, water, very important. Breast milk is mainly water, and this mother should ensure that they are well hydrated. More than 2 liters of clean water, clean and safe water every day.
So as much as we are recommending for a balanced diet,
Yes.
what about this woman who is poor and is in a rural area and can't afford the expensive proteins and the expensive vitamins? What do you advise her to do?
Now, this mother in the rural, there is this misconception that when we say eat a diversified diet, it has to be expensive. If you go even in the rural area, the locally available foods, I usually say you can access uji. Uji is very nutritious. If you drink it in the morning, you can access ngwashe, which is the sweet potatoes. You can access ndumas. You can access the terere. Some of these traditional vegetables just grow. You just come across them as you walk in the villages, and most of us do not know. So it doesn't have to be expensive. With the right information, this mother can still get a diversified diet for the family. But remember also that these mothers should attend antenatal services so that they get also micronutrient supplementations. Some of these micronutrients, we are not able to get them completely from the diet, especially during pregnancy and breastfeeding. But with a diversified diet, that mother is covered.
Maybe just elaborate on the multinatal services. What do you mean when you say that?
Thank you. When I say antenatal services, I mean going to the clinic when somebody, or it is ideally advised that you should go even during when you plan to conceive, so that you're given what is called folic acid supplement. What it does, it helps with the neurodevelopment of the baby. That happens very early weeks of pregnancy. So that is why it is encouraged. Then after that, the weight is monitored. They talk to you about a safe hospital delivery. That is where now nutritionists come in to talk to you about how to support and encourage breastfeeding later in life. Also, there are important tests like HIV that take place there, malaria tests. So these are the visits that a mother makes during pregnancy to help ensure that the pregnancy is healthy and also the mother remember, breastfeeding, even the World Breastfeeding Week, we are not only focusing on the baby, we are focusing on the mother, we are focusing on the baby, and we are focusing on the community.
Basing on our this year's theme,
Yeah.
breastfeeding as a shared responsibility,
Mhm.
what role do men play in breastfeeding?
We say it's a shared responsibility. Remember, if the men play a big role in supporting women, it can be your wife, it can be your employee, it can be your cousin, it can be your sister. As a man, you can play a role, number one, by making sure that this woman at least is well provided for. They have the right nutrients, they have the right space, and they have a comfortable and a cool environment to support breastfeeding. And also, you can accompany them to the clinic visits. When you do that, you are able to follow up, you help them with the baby, you see how the growth is going on. If there is any couple counseling that should take place together, it can also happen during that time. So as the men, the society, the government, everybody should get involved in supporting this one mother who wants to rescue a whole generation by ensuring that the breastfeeding process is well sustained and well taken care of.
So men, women, plus the government, we should all chip in to ensure that our kids are raised well. So what legislations are put there to support World Breastfeeding Week by the government?
Okay, the government also is part of UNICEF and WHO. Those are the organs, the global bodies that support World Breastfeeding Week. Of course, led by World Alliance the World Alliance of Breastfeeding Action, WABA, that comes up with every theme. So the government, one, is part of WHO and UNICEF that commemorates this year. And I'm sure we will see a lot of activities this week, or World Breastfeeding Week. And one of those activities is what we are doing right now, creating awareness to the public. Also, there is a current act, the Health Act of 2017, that was enacted just to remind employers to support breastfeeding. And even research has shown that if you support an employee who is breastfeeding, this employee will be more loyal. Then you will have a higher job retention rates, and you will have a healthier employees and all that. So that act was brought in place to ensure that every employer comes up with a policy to create space in the workplaces for breastfeeding, and also to ensure that this mother, at least there is flexibility in their shift to, if they need to go out and express breast milk, and they need to maybe leave to take the breast milk home, and also in the public places also to ensure there are changing places for children. You go to maybe a public washroom, there is no set change place that you can change a child, or you can just sit and express breast milk. So it is still work in progress, still being debated, but the Health Act of 2017 now came up with the workplace policy. It's upon each and every employer to come up with a policy. And right now, if a breastfeeding mother, apart from the maternity leave that is given, the employers, the societies, the government, the communities, the individuals, and the families should support this woman to breastfeed as long as they want.
Wow, that's quite a lot of impactful information.
Yeah.
Dr. Phoebe, thank you so much for making it to this session, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, we've had quite an informative session, and gone is the myth whereby only women were associated with breastfeeding. It's time that we all come up and take up responsibility for a healthy nation. Till next time, bye.